special edition of Change Chat. We just hit 3,000 subscribers. So today's August 8th, 2025, and just wanted to jump in, say hello to everyone, and just have a little bit of a conversation. And just talk about kind of where the channel's been, where it's going, what I've been up to, what I'm going to be up to, and kind of get your feedback and thoughts. So if you're already here, go ahead and drop something in the chat. Would love to have that conversation. We're going to go through and we're going to talk a little bit about the fact that, yay, we hit 3,000 subscribers, but also a little bit about the fact that I've introduced some merchandise that you can purchase to support the channel, but also just to show some solidarity. Hey, Aaron, great to see you here. Yeah, popped this up a little bit late. We hit 3,000 subscribers overnight. And well, actually, we hit it at 3,000 overnight, and then I lost one by the morning. And so I waited to send out the announcement until I was well over 3,000. So, and I shouldn't say well over, we were 4 over. But I didn't want to jump the gun on that. Hey, She Ain't, great to see you here. No, appreciate all of the support. Really, it kind of shocked me. I never expected to hit 1,000 subscribers, to be honest. I started this as a hobby less than 2 years ago, and it's just been one of those things where it kind of took on a life of its own. And in addition to my day job and my teaching part time and all the other things that I do, I started to create more and more videos. I started to do more and more things, and the community kind of took hold of me. And it's been a lot of fun to really kind of engage in this. I've made some really great contacts, some people that I really consider friends throughout this process. And it's just, I felt like I should say thank you. So, not expecting to hit 1,000, then hitting that and being monetized. Then all of a sudden, you start to see more and more things open up and more things happen. The online course that I've been building, all of these things that have really kind of, again, like I said earlier, taken on a life of their own, but also been very important and very, just humbling in a lot of ways. I truly thought that I would learn some new skills by doing this, and that maybe, just maybe, someone would find something interesting in what I had to say, and maybe it would help them make a decision. Did I ever expect to get have this be a thing that I did on a regular basis? Not really, but it has become that. And I think that for me, that again is both humbling but also encouraging, that you can be a small creator, that you can be a person who's just trying to do something that you find interesting, and you kind of bring people along, and they come on this journey with you, and you share experiences, and you really get to know kind of the market, the space, and get a better understanding of the people that you're trying to talk to and encourage. So feel free, drop things in the chat, ask questions. I am going to walk through and kind of show you the merchandising piece a little bit. That's new for me. I do apologize that it's only domestic US right now. I know that over 60% of the people who watch my content are international. We are working on getting that set up. Partially, it has to do with EU laws that require a physical address. And so we're going to have to get either a PO box or a mailbox, as it used to be, mailboxes, etc. I'm kind of showing my age, but UPS store somewhere like that that has a physical address, because I don't really want to put my home address out there for everyone to see. But once we have that, then I can begin to really take the time and build out that international piece to be able to do the international shipping. I'm wearing one of our t-shirts right now. So you'll see here, we've got, sorry, I'm mirrored on the screen, but we have Agent 3 or Agent 1820 here. This is an imprinted logo, so it's not going to peel on you. It's really nice material, a really nice shirt. We also have some other products, so I'm going to go ahead and pop over to that really quick, and I'll keep an eye on the chat. And I am still testing out the Elgato prompter, so hopefully it's helping make a little bit of a difference in how I keep myself centered and focused. And I will warn everybody that Mac is kind of tooling around, and he may make an appearance, at least in sound. So if you hear a dog barking, it's just our little guy, Mac. But let me go ahead and pop over really quickly to the screen share here. And there's two ways you can access the store. So one, I've gone ahead and put the items up here on the main OFC 1820 website. So you can go in here, you can look at the different items, and I've put a direct link in to be able to order. Right now we have these t-shirts like the one that I'm wearing here. We have 3 sizes of coffee mugs. If you're like me, you like a big coffee mug, and that's where I'm at. So I have this huge coffee mug here, but you can also get a normal size coffee mug if you'd rather have that. We have a hoodie. We have a laptop sleeve, a tote bag, and then we have a couple of stickers that you can purchase. If you'd rather just see the store, you can click the link right here from the website and go to the main page on the store, and this will give you the pricing. We've tried to keep the margins as low as we can. This is print on demand and ship on demand. So the big thing was starting small, making sure that we have people have something available, but also don't have excess inventory, anything like that. But you can see here that we have a hoodie, we have t-shirts, and all of the various items. But feel free, take a look at this, see if something strikes your fancy. We have some different, oh, She-Ink, I don't know what the awe is for, whether that's that Mac is about or, or that this looks great. But thank you for that very much. But yeah, it was something I've been wanting to do for a while, but I wanted to do it right. I wanted to make sure that whatever we had was good quality, and especially when you're dealing with t-shirts and imprints, it can be hard. You can get things that are going to peel off and or that are going to wear over time. This is going to be, it's an imprint, so it's not going to be something that is uh, kind of like, oh, I don't know, stuck on. It's not like a sticker type material. I keep going to the wrong side here because I'm on camera weird. But it's going to be that imprinted material. The only thing that Melissa said, just in case anybody is considering this, is if you iron it, you might want to turn it inside out, because sometimes if the iron's too hot, depending on the type of ink and the type of material they use to do the imprint, it may stick to the iron. So just a little food for thought. And thanks again to my lovely wife who created this character, Agent 1820. I mean, this is a creature of her own design. She asked me, your channel's all about change, all about different ways of thinking. So you really should have a chameleon as your kind of mascot logo type thing. And so that's what we did. So if you're interested in any of this, it's not a hard sell. It does help the channel, and it's just another nice way to be able to give back. And you can show a little bit of pride. So we tried to go with several different things here, whether it's something as small as a sticker, something you'll wear and get use out of, a laptop sleeve, which a lot of people have, or in our case, maybe it's an e-ink tablet display or sleeve to carry your tablet in, and the bag. So we have all of those available. We may add items as we go, but thank you all so much for that. So that's all new, is this idea of the store. And just a reminder, any kind of most of the links that you click on the things I use or here on the official merchandise site are going to be affiliate links. Again, doesn't cost you any extra. In fact, with the terminal, it actually saves you some money. But for the most part, it doesn't cost you anything, or it never costs you any extra. And it gives me a little bit of money to help subsidize the work I do. So if you have time, if you're going to buy something anyway, feel free to click on the Amazon links or any of that, and it does support the channel. But again, thank you all so much. So fire into the chat any questions you have. The rest of this is going to be kind of an open Q&A. I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, for hitting 3,000 subscribers. It's one of those things that when, like I said, you do it, you kind of are in awe of it. It's not something you expect, especially when you started like I did in a little bitty room downstairs with poor lighting and nothing going on. Yeah, She Ink, that is a tote. And matter of fact, I'll pop back over real quick and I'll show you what that looks like if you want to see it. So let me pop back over again here. Sorry, I'm looking at kind of a little bit different setup than I've had before. But let's go ahead and go into the tote. If I click here, it's going to take you to that store. And it's a 15 by 15 tote. So yeah, definitely a tote. I'm glad you love it. If you'd like to pop over and grab you one, go ahead. It will be this price plus shipping. That's just part of it. But again, it's ship on demand, and they do have a pretty good turnaround. I showed the mug a little bit earlier. Of course, I have this T-shirt. Melissa has. She has a sweatshirt because she tends to get cold. So they've got really nice hoodies on here, and they have a lot of good products. I wanted to make sure I got it in before I started talking about the product, but this is a very nice quality shirt as well. Aaron says, I never said anything, but I used your Amazon link to purchase the AI paper. Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And She Ink, thank you so much for the super chat. It's always welcome. Never expected, but always welcome. I really appreciate it. And Aaron, thank you for using that for the AI paper. It's funny because a lot of people may think that, I have, and let me switch back over to the main discussion here, may think I have an agenda with these e-ink tablets, and I don't. I have the one that I tend to use, which is the Supernote. It's the one that I find the most utility in for what I do, but I enjoy all of them. I do enjoy the AI paper, even though the organizational features of it just aren't what I can incorporate into my daily flow right now. And funny enough, I've had 3 people use different affiliate links to purchase that device. So it's nice to know, Aaron, that one of them was you. But there was also 2 others who have purchased either through ViWoods specifically or through the Amazon to buy those devices. And I kind of run the gamut. I mean, I've had people even before I had any books devices that based on, I guess, what they heard on my channel, they bought a Go 10.3. And, that makes me kind of feel validated in what I do, because what I do is not so much about what the device is. I mean, it is. I talk about the devices and I talk about their capabilities and I talk about why they're important, but it's more about doing your research, doing your due diligence. And I was lucky enough when I went in and tried to do this that Voya was there and Kit was there. I mean, this was pre Jeff Moss. This was pre Rod. This was pre Vlad. I hadn't even found him yet. So pretty much I cut my teeth on a combination of Voya and Kit, and also JB Glossinger as well over at Morning Coach, because at the time he was doing a lot on different e-ink tablets. And then back then I looked at Good e-reader. I looked at all kinds of places where I could find any information I could. Pixel Leaves was another one. And some of these creators have scaled back. They don't do as much as they used to, and that's okay. And I think some of us have kind of jumped up into the space. And, Aaron, you at 2530 Media, you're doing a lot of work, especially around books and the AI paper products, really showing those use cases. And David over at Tablet Tech. So, when I say that this is a community, I really mean that. And I think that the more that we continue to reinforce one another, the more we continue to share each other's content, the better off we're going to be. Because people need to understand as they're looking to make a purchase like this, because none of these are cheap. But if they're looking to make that purchase, if they're looking to do something different, and that's what e-ink is, it's different, then they need to be as well informed as possible. And I'll be honest, I know when people say, I'll be honest, well, what would you do if you were lying? But no, that's not the case. But I went to Best Buy recently and I had an opportunity to engage with the Remarkable Paper Pro and with what else did they have? They had the regular Remarkable and they had the Kindle Scribe. And I was so underwhelmed, and it wasn't because of the devices. It was because if any of you have worked in retail or you've been in a retail store, the experience of a display depends as much on the store as it does on the product. And the nib was worn down to almost nothing. They hadn't cleaned the screen in a while, you could tell. And so I wonder, even in the retail space where they're trying to, a few of these products have actually made it to a demo or made it to a shop floor for people to engage with, are they getting a decent experience? And I don't think they are from the few times I've seen it. Now, again, that may just be our local Best Buy. I don't know. But that's where Remarkable and Kindle have a presence with these types of devices. So I don't think you get that full experience. So the next best closest thing is and Aaron says what is it here? Let me pop it up. They never work correctly in Best Buy. Yeah, and I mean partially that's because the Best Buy employees put them into demo mode, because I noticed that as well, that it was in a demo mode. So it doesn't have a full feature tool set. And so how are you supposed to get any sense of a device like this that's complex? Even though remarkable, as simplistic as some people say it is, it's still a Linux environment. It's still customized. And it's very important to understand what you're getting into when you go to buy one of these devices. And one thing that I do, and again, I understand all of these have very unique sometimes work case or workflow cases. They're very good at what they do. They have very specific ways that they're set up. But I always try and think back, because I feel really privileged and lucky right now to have multiple devices. I never had multiple devices. If you go back and you watch my channel, I had the A5X. That's what I had. And it's all I had for a long time. And to this day, it's the only device I've actually purchased outside of the MobiScribe and the terminal. But as far as an e-note taking capable device, it's the only device that I purchased to do the things I do with it. And to me at the time, that's all the money I had to spend. And so I had to really go through this process and narrow down what device is going to suit the majority of my needs in that moment, and be very conscientious and clear about, okay, it, they're saying it's going to do this, it's on the roadmap for this, but I needed the things, my base case, the things I needed to do right then needed to be available. So taking good quality notes, creating headers, making sure those notes were able to be saved on the cloud, being able to highlight PDFs and text. Kindle was a nice to have, and I was glad it was there, but it wasn't a have to have. Linking, which wasn't there to begin with, but it was something that I didn't need to begin with. So when it came along, it really kind of added value. A basic calendar with Google or Outlook integration. At the time it was Outlook, then it came to be Google for me switching environment. Being able to create events in that calendar that would then sync back to Google. So all of that needed to be on board, and the Supernote had that. Keywords, searching. At the time when I bought the Supernote, the A5X, it didn't have real-time recognition notes. It didn't have, but I didn't need those. Now those are integral, or, I mean, they are so important in my workflow because I've added Obsidian to that workflow. But at the time, I didn't need that. And so I bought the device based on what my needs were at the time, which was a paper replacement with some enhancement. And it worked really well. So I try and put myself in that spot now and really try to think through, if I was going to buy a device right now, which one would still fit my needs? And right now, that's still the Manta. I think Books is a very close second. And I think that then you would go to the AI paper, and quite frankly, the Remarkable just had too limited of a tool set for me. But I would really say that, especially as they keep improving on all of these devices, it's really important to think through what is their tool set now, though. The reason I don't have the Nomad anymore is it's just too small for me. That form factor, anything sub 10 inch is not going to work for me. And I know that. So I don't even review anything anymore other than the MobiScribe as a reader. I don't review anything anymore that's sub 10 inches for writing, for a note taking tablet. Now, that's not saying that for somebody and for a lot of people, the foreign, including my son Trey and Aaron, you in the chat, I know you love the AI Paper Mini, and it's a little bit bigger than the Nomad, so it's an 8.2-inch screen, and I think it's really important to understand that for you that works really well. And if all I was doing was taking notes, that size might actually work for me. But once you start having to annotate documents, or for me grading papers, then it makes it to where that case is harder and harder to. So anyway, more chats. Drop questions, ask questions. I'm happy to talk through different things on a device. If you want to have a conversation for a little while, I'm not going to be on extremely long. Those of you who know me and have watched my channel for a while know that Friday night is pizza movie night. So the Finn family sits down, has some pizza, and watches a movie. But right now, we got off work a little bit early today, and Gabriel is working, so they took him to work, and I had a little bit of time to myself to jump on here really quickly. And Aaron says, the 8.2-inch screen seems so much bigger. I don't know why. You make a great point there, Aaron, and I want to talk about that really quickly. So I still love my A5X, and I think we're at that point now. And She-Ink, if you're still here, you'll want to hear this. I think I could finally say that I wouldn't recommend, or that I would recommend upgrading from the A5X to the A5X2 in one case. Actually, two scenarios. One, if you need the Kindle app to be on your device, they have ended support, Amazon has, for Android 8. So Android 8.1 cannot support the Kindle app to download and receive materials anymore. You can still read anything you've already downloaded, but you can't get anything else. So that's broken. And Supernote has nothing they can do about it. The Manta has Android 11, which is going to be supported probably for quite a while. I mean, you were looking at 5 years you got out of the A5X. I think you'll get more than that since you're 3 versions ahead on Android with this, Android 11 on the Manta. That's one reason I would say you definitely need to upgrade. Another one is, if you want, because they're still working on it, but they haven't got it implemented, is if you want that InkFlow app. So if you want to turn your tablet into a Wacom tablet to use alongside your PC, plugging that in, then that functionality isn't yet on the A5X. And they're working on it, but I don't know when, I don't know when that might happen. Now, otherwise, everything else is the same. All the other functionality, all the other things are the same, with the exception of one thing. And this gets to your point, Aaron. And you said you've been doing a lot of long form writing on it, and it works really great while traveling. Yes. The Supernote Manta, this really quickly, it probably won't look as good because I don't know exactly where. And there goes Mac. He's starting to grow. But let me go ahead and go to demo here. Sure this works. All right. I've got a bunch of stuff in the way here, so let me get this cleared out. I wasn't sure if I was going to demo, but let's go ahead and look at the Manta. Now, the Manta, and something about it that I find really interesting and that I think sets it apart is it's bigger. So it's a 10.65-inch display. So the original Supernote A5X was a 10.3 inch. So the same size as the Go 10.3, the same size as the Note Air 4C. And you really start to notice that extra, it's not even a half an inch on the diagonal, but it's amazing how much you notice it. So that 0.35 extra space in the diagonal just really makes a difference. And I don't know how to really kind of explain that other than the fact that you have to use it. Grab my pen here for a second. But it just, especially once you get rid of your toolbars, you just get so much more space that you don't realize you're getting, if that makes sense. And the Manta is so much lighter than the A5X. It's because of the fact that it's a half folio. It's because of the fact that it's thinner and it's got that tapered edging around the sides to make it feel thinner. It's such a nice experience. And I would say at this point, if you are having any trouble at all, or you feel like you're going to go to another device anyway because of Kindle breaking with Android 8.1, I would say buy a Manta. Go ahead and make that upgrade. And the nice part about doing that is then in the future, you get the modularity. And I know, Aaron, you've joked with me a lot about modularity and whether that's worth spending the extra. And let me jump back over to the discussion here. Whether or not that's worth spending, uh, whether it's worth a premium. And I get that. And I think for some people, it might not be. For some people, the idea of buying a device every 3 or 4 years is okay, and planned obsolescence works. But for me, if I am to the point where they come out with a new chipset, and that chipset, let's say, costs $200, but they haven't really improved their, let's say 300 even, because the Manta's 456, 469 before the case and everything. But if I already have a case, if I already have a screen and my screen's not having problem, if my battery is working and I'm not having an issue, I can just upgrade to the new chipset. And now I've got a brand new device, basically. Not to mention you get a 2-year warranty. So again, I'm not shilling for them, but I'm saying modularity to me is really important because you can swap out those interchangeable parts. I relate it to an engine, and I know you have an automotive background. I relate it to that. You don't just buy a new motor or buy a new car when you can replace some of the parts. And I know we have trouble thinking in those terms with technology because we've been trained to not think in those terms. We've been conditioned in some ways to think, oh, well, it's time to get a new phone. It's time to get a new PC. It's time to get a new laptop. But things like the framework laptop, traditional box PC that you can change your parts in and out of or add different components to, the old style phones that you could actually just get and put a battery into, laptops we used to put batteries into and just buy the battery. I think that coming back is a good thing. And Supernote's really been leading on that particular thing. But anyway, we went kind of down a rabbit hole and a tangent there with but I totally hear you, Aaron, on you don't realize you have extra space until you do. And then when you do, it's like, wow. And that kind of brings me quickly to Note Air, or not, sorry, not the Note Air, to the BOOX Note Max. So let me pop over here again and show you the Note Max. The Note Max is just amazing. It really is. Again, not for everything, but for something. And I think that if you're in the BOOX ecosystem, if you have this and you have the Go 10.3, I think you're probably, if you're in the BOOX ecosystem, I think that a device of this size, especially if you're an academic and you have to grade papers, is just crazy cool. And then when you can get all of that extra space, I've got it. I upgraded to the beta, so now I have all these things. But I finally got this the way I want it. I've customized all my icons, and it's just a really, really good experience for me. Let's go back there. So the idea of this, I think, is really cool. And I do want to show one thing because David at Tablet Tech, and I'll put this in the description afterwards, did an awesome job in talking about infinite notes, which I was a little leery of, but for mind mapping, what an amazing thing. And he had mentioned pins, and pins act like a table of contents or an outline almost. So you have this huge canvas and you drop a pen somewhere on the canvas. And now watch where when I do that, that pen is way over here. I don't know if everybody can see that. So that pen, if I touch this again, it's going to show the whole screen, but it's way over there. And then if I go back, I can go to pin 3, and pin 3, if you look, way down here. So it's pretty cool. So, I mean, for me, grading papers on this, I'm in the Supernote ecosystem, so all of my notes still live there. I haven't found a seamless way to transfer that over to Books and to get then that information to Obsidian, which is where I keep a lot of notes. But if I did, this and then Go 10.3 would probably be my dream device lineup from a Books format. An A4 size in the Supernote on this, genius. Be absolutely genius. And would make my workflow probably just unstoppable. Just because of that interoperability, just because of that unified experience. All right, so we've got a couple of chats here. So Amir, and thank you all for joining. Amir says, how would you compare the ViWoods or the WeWoods? Sorry, even I still get that wrong occasionally. The WeWoods writing feel compared to the Manta. So there's two things on that, Amir, and that's a great question. Personally, I don't like the nib that comes with the AI paper. There are a lot of people who do love that. If I have to pick one of the two nibs that do come with it, I like the harder nib with that plastic kind of screen they have, that screen feel, but they don't have the same right. I don't think you can compare them directly. And the reason being that the Feel Right 2 film on the Supernote combined with the ceramic nib is really just, it's different. It feels like writing on a bed of paper. Personally, for me, on the WeWoods, on the AI paper, the best feel combination of nib is the rubberized digital or Norris Digital Jumbo stylus. Absolutely love that stylus on there. And if you combine that with the calligraphy pen and having the eraser, it's a very pleasurable experience. I would have to say that writing feel, I really enjoy the AI paper. I think it feels really nice. It's very crisp. The screen is absolutely beautiful. I saw a recent review where they said that it was like a really bad ghosting experience on the AI paper. I never got that, but I understand um, that for some that could be the case. It depends on what you're reading, what you're doing, what your refresh rate's set at. So there's a lot of different things, but hopefully that answers the question. I don't know that there's a direct comparison between the two. They're both using plastic Mobius screens. They're both using the latest Carta 1300 technology. Very similar pen to ink or nib to e-ink distance. Very similar latencies. They're all very good. It's just it feels to me when I'm writing on the AI paper, especially with their built-in nibs or their built-in stylus, their provided stylus, which also has proprietary nibs, it's much more difficult to really, kind of make a direct comparison because I'm so used to using the Supernote the way it is out of the box, and I've never found anything that writes better on the Supernote than their own product. Not saying there isn't going to be, and there may be at some point, but right now, that's the case. We got another question here. I have a Books, Mirror Pro, Nova Air, and Go 10.3, and a Remarkable, all of them for different reasons. I don't think Supernote is worth it. It might not be for you, Alex. That's, again, one of those things that it really just depends on what your workflow is. Um, for me, it fits because there's so much you can do with it, with specifically, in my case, Obsidian. There's a community plugin that takes all of those handwritten notes in rich text format and then pulls those into Obsidian and allows me to do other things with them. Also, it depends on whether or not you are doing a lot of document markup. There's a lot of things you can do on the Books platform, but not everything. The digest feature, which I'm waiting a little bit on with rolling out in a deep dive on that because I wanted it to get out of beta. From a research perspective of being able to combine notes, PDFs, EPUBs, and text all in one big, large digest that can be shared out into something else, I think that is going to be a game changer from a research perspective. So being able to do that kind of interconnectivity and be able to do that is pretty cool. Also, their calendar second only to WeWoods in my estimation, or at least in my, because they're the only two platforms that have a direct integration with Google Drive or with Google Calendar. Sorry, yeah, with Google Calendar and with um, Outlook. So again, depending on what your use case is, the Manta might not be worth it for you. But now that you can sideload apps and you can do other things with it, for some people, it could truly be the all-in-one device. Just like for other people, the books could be the all-in-one device. With the AI paper, I don't think so yet. And it's mainly because of their file structuring and their organizational tools. You can't link, you can't save anything that's not a like type in another file structure. And they're working, they're constantly iterating. All of these platforms have done so much in the last couple of months that it's really almost an arms race of software here recently. Amir, thank you. Thank you for the support. Thanks for being here. Thank you for asking questions. I mean, I wouldn't have hit 3,000 subscribers without all of you doing this. You know, I pop up randomly on a Friday and I get 5 concurrent viewers, and I get people, you know, take it 6 now, and I get up to 17, 18 people watching me live. All of those things help. If you buy something from the store, it helps. If you do a super chat, if you do a super thanks, if you, you know, just click that like button, subscribe button, comment, all of that helps. And again, I don't make money off of this. I have yet to turn a profit. Primarily, I don't buy devices. So I've been lucky that I've had people willing to send me devices with no strings attached. Most of my money that I've gotten from ad revenue or anything else goes into the technology that allows me to keep creating. So new cameras, the Elgato prompter that I'm using to talk to you tonight, uh, and then gifts from my family at birthdays and holidays. You know, so you know they'll buy me different things to help support this. But a lot of it is just what little bit that I get from the channel goes directly back into the channel. Will I at some point maybe start making a tiny little bit of profit? Maybe. But will it be profit? I doubt it, because there's a lot of work that goes into this. You can ask any creator out there. Live streaming is both one of the hardest and one of the easiest things to do because you're not editing before it goes out. So that makes it a little bit easier, but it's also harder because so many things can go wrong in the moment. And if you don't know how to troubleshoot that, it can really cause some problems and some friction. Videos, though, are much harder because you're constantly second guessing yourself, and you're constantly, should I edit this? Should I take out every should I take out my breath because I breathe harder here or there? What should I do? How should I create this? What visuals should I put here? Should I cut this piece out because I don't feel like I said it right? So both things have severe trade-offs between the two and the different types of interactions that you're having with your audience. And so I can't thank you all enough for the support. I can't thank you all enough for being there and getting me from someone who was in a tiny room with a document camera. That's all I had. A document camera and a laptop creating videos. And so I would take the document camera and I would film myself and use that as my kind of main discussion camera. And then I would reconfigure everything and use books or whatever I had to get the top down shot and get the frame. And then I would put the device in the frame, and then using that same camera and microphone, it was a Blue Yeti at the time, which I still have my blue. And yeah, I would do that. Mac's getting a little bit rambunctious, but I would use the Blue Yeti, and then I would record the configuration. I'd record the device that I was talking about and the tutorial. And then if I needed another view, I'd reconfigure everything again. Now, slowly, I've been able to add different things. The master mount, the lighting that I have right now, it's daylight, so I've got natural lighting. But all of that has come out of the small little bit of ad revenue that I get, the referrals, the orders that you all support me with, those clicks, those watches, those subscriptions, anything that you all do, purchasing the online course, all of that has helped me be able to add some of the things to make at least the creation process a little bit easier. So, what other questions do you have? Like I said, I'm going to hop off here in a few minutes, but I wanted to hop on, say thank you to everybody. I will say that, let me go ahead and see if I can pull this up, because what I want to do is talk a little bit about the online class while I have you all here, if anybody's interested. Remember, if you are on Patreon as a supporter, which is that $5 a month tier, this class is completely free to you right now. You just sign in, you sign up, and then it's free. That may change once the whole course is up and running, primarily because it's a big investment to take the time to create that course. But at the same time, it allows for a lot of interaction as I'm developing it. There's David. David at Tablet Tech. You actually came up earlier, so go back and watch the replay if you have time. I was talking about the pen feature on the Infinite Notes. I actually think that's going to be a game changer for people who like to mind map and do different things. So the pen is basically you just drop it anywhere on that canvas and you can name it whatever you want. You can put it by text. It's actually, I wish they would do the pen instead of the outline in the regular note. And I think the regular note then with the outline would become super useful. I just don't think that you could do sub pens. So that might be something that me and you and Aaron need to get on a live stream or a recording and talk about at some point. Yeah, and thank you for the shout out. I appreciated you shouting me out in your video, and Aaron too. I mean, we all do a whole bunch of stuff, and so yeah, Aaron said he's using the pen now. It's a great tool, especially for that infinite canvas. Being able to, kind of flow and then, oh, I don't know where that's at. You just drop a pin on it, keep on creating as you normally would. And then later you go ahead and you just go to your pins and you hit it, you've named it, and it takes you to that spot and you're there. It really takes the idea of mind mapping to another level in some ways. It may make BOOX the best mind mapping tool on e-ink. I'll have to play with it a little bit, but in my early estimation, I think that's the case. And She-Ink says, yeah, I'd love to see that live stream. I think it would be really fun. So we may have to get that set up at some point with all of us, or a recording at least as a podcast or something to send out, depending on, schedules and that kind of thing. I do want to hop over really quick to the screen share. So let me go ahead and hop in here because I did mention the course. And so this is the introduction to organization and second brain systems. And what I want to do is go ahead and go into the classwork and kind of just show you all where we're at. So yes, She-Ink, let me pop this up. I do still owe you an interview, unfortunately, and I have not forgotten. It's just now that I might not recommend keeping the A5X. We may have to pivot and do some different discussion points, but I definitely owe you that, and we will definitely set that up. I promise you. Um, because I really appreciate your support and your insights. You have a lot of really good insights into these products. So anyway, real quick, and then I'll probably hop off of here since we don't have any more questions currently. But right now we are up to module 5. So modules 1 through 5 are done. We have officially gone through. We've passed the halfway point. But if you're ever interested, so this has been being built out over the last couple of years, or not last couple of years, the last couple of months. And it's one of those things that, again, it's why I made it accessible. If you can purchase it one time, you can purchase it for a discount if you're an insider on YouTube or Patreon, and then you can purchase it, or you don't have to purchase it if you are a $5 a month supporter. But the caveat to that is it is taking me about 9 months to build out the entire course site. So you're getting about one module a month. But the good part of that is in every module, you get all of these things and then you can provide feedback. So after I'm done creating all 9 of these modules, by the time we get to that point, then I can go back and start adding, refining. I may add in different tools or even some videos on different e-ink tablets and some different workflows. And anyone who's bought the course before and has access will always have access. And I kind of took a page from Brad Colbo about that with his Learn to Draw in 60 Days. I didn't think it would be right of me to say, oh, you have to pay for the course again every time when it gets updated. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's right. So once you purchase the course, either in a bulk or through that supporter tier for now, you're going to have lifetime access. Now, if you do the trial, you have to wait till after the trial on the supporter tier before you get access that first time. And then, like I said, once it's fully developed, there may be a discount for that $5 tier instead of an outright, just because there's a lot more room for abuse of somebody signing up for a month, taking all 9 modules in the month, although it's a lot of stuff. And then going back and just canceling the membership. So we'll figure something out, but I do want to make it worth your while. I don't want it to be something that costs a ton of money. But you'll notice here in module 5 is what we just sent. And you can take this if you use another device besides the Supernote. But I'm also very transparent that I work in the Supernote. So for me, that's what I'm going to demo for the most part. It's going to be the major demo. And the reason being that I want to make sure that the information that you get is where I'm most comfortable sharing it. But you can replicate a lot of these systems on another device. And I'm very clear about that. And then I also add some different things and will continue to add over time. But you'll notice you get all different types. You get an introduction. I always add some extra YouTube videos or different things. But one thing about the course is you'll see something here you don't see on my YouTube channel. I always do a dedicated video just for the course and for the different modules. So even this device overview is strictly for this course. It is not on my YouTube channel. I'm not double dipping. Now, I do link out to other courses or other content where I make deeper dive into something. So you'll notice here, I go ahead and give you thoughts after a week. I also link out to other YouTubers. So Jeffrey Moss, I've linked out to him. I've linked out to Voya, to Kit. Eventually, depending on topic, I'll link out to Rod. Brandon Boswell, I've linked out to him before. So there are going to be cases in all of this, but I walk you through all of these different components and kind of give you a sense of it. And again, this is the basic module. when we get here, when we start talking about advanced tools, you're going to see even more content that's deeper, goes further, and really tries to help you understand how the product works, but also how my mind works and how I create links. You can create links in books, you just have to know how to do that. So if you know how to do that, and if you can translate what I'm talking about and the way I'm thinking about it, then that's going to help you when the time comes to be able to create your own workflow, because that's what this is all about. It starts with basic organization, mind mapping, folder structuring. How do you think about data? How do you think about information? What's your sweet spot? What kind of technology do you use? And then moves into these more advanced workflows. Things are changing so rapidly in this space. And my own kind of approach has changed, not necessarily in what I talk about, because it's mostly around organization and just being aware of different things that are going on, and, finding your flow. But what has changed is the fact that interspersed with that, I'm looking at other devices now, which was never the case before. Before, my content was 99.9% Supernote. Now it's still a lot of Supernote because that's what I use every day. But I mean, I geeked out. For those of you who haven't watched or who want to watch my video on the Note Max, that device is phenomenal for grading papers. Absolutely great. If you are annotating a lot of PDFs and papers where you want that full real estate, can't get it on any other device. Quaderno does have some tools. It is possible to do that. BOOX has another 13-inch device, the XC, that has color if you want or need color. I would say need is very important there. But the Note Max, in many ways, is almost a perfect device from a size standpoint for me for that type of work. I can make the Manta do it though by going into landscape. It's still not as good as having that larger canvas, but it's good enough, which is why I always say I still try to think in my mind, and let me know if you all agree or disagree with this. I always try to think, if I had to go to one device tomorrow, if all I could afford, because that's kind of where I'm at, if all I can afford is one device and I can't buy another one, which device would that be? And that's going to be different for everybody. For some people, if they don't leave their desk a lot for meetings and they don't travel around a lot, something like the Note Max could be perfect for that. If they need color, the Tab XC may be perfect for that. For me, the balance between portability, which I have to have, and the type of workflow that I need is the Manta. The Go 10.3 may be as close second to that if I was looking outside of the Supernote ecosystem. And the AI paper, quite frankly, if they could get the organization right on that thing, it does so many cool things. The calendar is crazy. If you haven't watched my discussion of it on the calendar, or Aaron Reed's discussion over at 2530 Media, or David at Tablet Tech, if you haven't watched our kind of collective thinking around their calendar, there are very few holes you can punch in their calendar app. It is that good. It does so many things so well, and Supernote's the closest to it because it has the sync between Google and Outlook. BOOX is the closest if you're talking about memos and some other components. But as far as just sheer raw power, if you had multiple calendars supported on the AI paper, the calendar app would be, I would argue, perfect. I don't think there's any more improvements you could or would have to do on that, except for the people who would want to write on the daily view. And that's true of Supernote. Supernote, its biggest stumbling block is the fact that you only get date created on your notes. It'll show you all of your notes, but it only shows you the date created, which is an issue if you're trying to plan ahead. So I always do it first thing in the morning, create my notes so that they stay with the day they were created. If they had a date created, or you could tag it in the future, or date last accessed. That would be huge. Aaron says, "Oh, this pen tool is awesome. I'm using this format note to organize my book project." Awesome. The pen tool is crazy. I mean, when it first came out, I thought, what is this? I don't know about it. And then I played with it a little bit, and the fact you can rename the pens, it's almost, I mean, Aaron, you and I talk about this idea of a keyword, and I use them a little bit in a tag, and I use them a little bit differently in the Supernote. So sometimes the word you see is not the keyword. That word has, it may be my title, and then my title has like 10 keywords associated with it. Not because I am saying that that one header has that, but because it's saying, oh, I had this meeting in 2025 about this topic, and it falls within this school, this college, these people were involved. And instead of having to remember all of that or tag all of that separately, I tag it all in the title. So if I search for any one of those things by keyword, all of the notes with one or more of those with one of those keywords that I'm searching for will come up. And then Aaron also says I'm using it how I use Obsidian with a combination of links and tags. Yeah, I can so see that. And I think that's where Supernote allows that with the keyword function, but there's no visual representation. And I think Rod makes a good point on that. And I wish they would highlight, and I swear they used to, when you search for a keyword, would highlight the word when you pressed on the page. But for some reason, I didn't see that this last time. So maybe that was a figment of my imagination, but I thought when you searched it and went to the page, it showed it. But I don't see that as outlined or highlighted anymore. And I don't know why that would be taken away. But I do wish there was some kind, not on it, not necessarily all the time, not necessarily a highlight, but when you searched it, it would be really cool if you went to that page and it highlighted whatever word you had tagged as a keyword so that you knew that that's where you were looking. That's just a small thing, but yeah, Aaron, 100% on the pin feature. I think is going to be, especially if you're using that infinite note, is going to be really cool. And I think their take on infinite notes actually is better than Remarkable from what I've seen. The select all below seems kind of weird to me, only because what if you need to put something, it just seems clunky, and maybe that's just a me thing. Yeah, you can select all below and then you can write some more stuff. But wouldn't it be just easier to drop a pin and move on to another topic, and then you come back to that topic by using your pin structure? I don't know. I have to play with it. I don't have a Remarkable, so I can't really play with their infinite notes. But I love the fact that Books has said, you know what? You want an infinite note? We're going to do it in a way that makes sense from a mind mapping or a true flow perspective. And you don't have to just go up and down. You go side to side. You can go diagonal. You can go wherever you want on this thing and create a canvas. And I think that's really cool. I think they're being really innovative there. So anyway, I am going to wrap it up, folks. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for helping me celebrate this 3,000 mark. Thank you to everyone who's liked, everyone who's subscribed, everyone who's joined me on Patreon, become a YouTube channel member. Feel free to check out all of the affiliate links. Again, they cost you nothing. There are so many ways to support the channel, but it all starts with just subscribing and liking. And if you do that, and even if you can't and you just keep coming back and watching me, 70% of my audience has never subscribed, but they come back all the time. I'm okay with that too. I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like and subscribe, but I get it if you can't, or you don't feel like doing that and don't want to clutter up your feed. Either way, all of you are a huge part of this. I can't thank you enough. And until next time, you all just keep on moving forward, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great night, everybody.